Is is that is that
The top result.
someone is trying to make me a new account and make a new account, and it's like, okay, great, you have your account at GTC Christopher, but it's an unclaimed account.
Yeah. Our first swear on the air. No, I don't think it is.
That's not even vaguely true.
Wow.
How is
Hey, everybody.
it going?
What's up? What's up? What's up? We're doing villain stuff, so I'm representing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you have your villain cup. Very quiet voices. Sandvar says we have very quiet voices. Yes, very quiet.
We do have very quiet
Very
voices.
quiet, yes.
Yeah, we weren't quite ready to.
We weren't quite
so
ready.
our voices are quite.
We weren't quiet ready.
Yep.
A
A little bit louder now. A little bit louder now. A little bit louder now.
I like the Kricker says, does anyone remember what this one's about? Yeah, here's the thing. It was announced what this one is about in the show notes of today's editor's note
That just went
came
live
out
today,
2 hours ago.
asking for questions for the thing that we're recording right now.
Yeah, so not going to be any questions on that. We'll talk about that when we go live because I definitely want to. Hi, West Waters. Hey, Kricker. There was a swear in Tuesday's episode even.
Oh, there was? Oh, there was one point that I said...
Yeah, but
I know
I'm sure there are other sources. Oh, no, that's right. I said bullshit, I think.
Oh.
In Tuesday's episode, not in today's editor's note.
No, I know.
In Tuesday's episode.
What was the swear, Jay-Z?
I think it was when I said bullshit.
Is that the one?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Or did you notice another?
I didn't notice any more than that one, but also Tuesday's episode was a lot. It was a lot. Hello, Mr. Fox.
Hello.
Greetings, Mr. Fox.
Hello, Mr. Fox. Top of the morning to you. Will you be taking the bat pose, sir?
I thought it was skipped.
A holiday off-road? Not very subtle. The Lamborghini then. Much more subtle. Yep,
Yeah.
that was one.
All right. Let's do the test where we haven't done room tone for this episode since Trevor hit
Here
play.
we go. Room tone. Okay. Here we are.
Welcome back
Welcome back.
to the stage of history.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll be talking about some things today that are very near and dear to my
do
heart.
Soul Calibur color commentary. It's like, and now Maxie is doing the sidestepping thing again.
Yeah.
With the nunchucks.
Here you see Nightmare's overhand swipe.
It's truly a brutal smash attack. Yes.
He'll getting that close to Ivy's whirling whip blade is not advised.
These opponents.
Whip blade.
An exit dance. Who knows? What's the time on the whole world country? Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're not going live with the episode just yet. We'll go live with the episode in a couple of minutes. Right now, we're just fooling around. The thing is, we were just hanging out here chatting about stuff, and we're like, we can just go live. Please come up with some good evil plans that we can use later. Oh, evil GM, we'll miss you. Okay. What was I talking about? We're gonna talk about the stuff, Doomsday Device stuff. Oh, right. I wanted to do a test. Hey, everybody in the chat, people who are watching and listening and typing. I want to do the test thing where we check to see what the delay is.
Oh yeah.
Because that will help me decide how much Discord involvement we're going to have with the creative process. Because if we're like, let's come up with some Doomsday Device things, if the delay's real quick, then we can just be like, what about this idea? And then see what people think.
Right.
But if the delay is like 20 plus seconds, then it'll be like, what about this idea?
All right, so let's do it in 5, 4.
Well, hold on.
3.
We got to tell
okay.
people what they're doing in that amount of time.
Oh,
We can't
yeah.
just start counting down. That
Just
doesn't
say
work.
now.
That doesn't. No, right. So what we want to do is we want you to type the word iguana.
Okay, iguana.
Type the word iguana, but don't hit enter yet. Don't do it yet. Type the word iguana into
Just
chat.
type it in the field.
Yeah, get
and
ready.
then hit enter
Hold
or
your finger
return for you
over
fake computer users.
Enter or return, or click the little arrow button if
Or
you're gonna
click that.
click it. But don't
Or
do that.
Press it on your phone.
Don't
Press
do any of those
send.
things yet. Just type it in and wait. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and after we say 1, we'll say go. And when we say the word go, that's when you submit your iguana.
And you're gonna are you gonna time it or are you gonna count?
I'll time it.
Use the timer.
You'll have to tell me when people
That's fine. I can do that.
do the thing. Okay. So here we go.
Get that timer.
I've got a
ready.
stopwatch.
Ready?
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. You're watching the chat. They seem ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go. Give me those iguanas. I want those iguanas.
Let's see that iguana. Let's see that show up.
Iguana me.
Let's see it show up. Come on, iguana.
Iguana. Oh, man.
There.
Yeah?
Yep.
18 seconds and
Oof.
40 milliseconds. Yeah. All right.
They're starting to come in.
The iguana
a lot-
should be.
a lot more
I would say
now.
the iguana should be just piling in because I think
JC didn't listen to the instructions and wrote
iguana on a stick. I got some exclamation points here.
Yeah, the whole
Iguana 8 was early.
if the whole experiment's ruined.
Well, so interesting because the amount of people saying iguana, all of the iguanas came in at 11 o'clock even. Like none of the iguanas came in at 10:59. None of the iguanas came in at 11:01. They all came in right at 11. So within that time frame, yeah, bunch of iguanas. Boop, boop.
Okay. Well, so 18 seconds, roughly 15 to 20.
I was surprised that nobody. 18 to 20. 18's when the first one.
Well,
18
yeah.
and 40 milliseconds when the first one came in. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but I was surprised that nobody did an iguana emoji, a little lizard emoji.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I would have guessed.
Yeah. Well, no one did.
Oh, interesting. All right, cool. So now we know about the iguanas. Anyway, it's 11:02 now, so I feel comfortable actually getting started now
Yeah.
that we've done some room tone, we've done some delay testing. I don't have any show notes for this one. So.
No. Yeah, we're just gonna go for it. So.
All right. Oh, right. We're making doomsday plots. It's really
Right.
fun. Okay. Are you ready? Welcome to Extrasode number 6, in which we make doomsday devices.
That's
Plots.
Really? Doomsday plots.
To destroy
We're
the
gonna
world.
destroy the world this episode.
We're also gonna
Adam
make
and
doomsday
Christopher
devices.
Destroy the world. That's the
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
But like those of you that are watching the video will get to see us here tinkering with our doomsday devices.
You do the tinkering. I'm
Yeah.
not good with machines.
No, that's okay. But you come up with cool ideas, and I'm like,
Okay.
yes, I will make those machines. Yeah. It's good. It's
Yeah.
good.
So
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm a little bit groggy still. I'm not yet awake.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Did you sleep?
I slept. Yeah.
All right.
I slept okay, but
Sleep better, Adam.
I'll
Pick it
try. But yeah, I got coffee.
Good.
But it's just taking a little time, to get going.
That's fair.
Get in my brain. Got to get the caffeine molecules in between the ridges of the brain because that's
how it works?
That's how it works. The caffeine goes in there and makes the surface smooth so that the thoughts can go over it easier.
That makes sense. So what if we did a thing where we released a bunch of coffee or something that we had chemically altered so that it still works the way it does, but with the caffeine molecules that are in there had an extra like little transponder molecule on it. So people drank the caffeine, they and it got into their brains, and then when the thoughts were going faster because of the smoothness, they would skip across these extra little hidden transponder molecules that we'd included, and it as a result transmitted all that data to us. And so essentially we'd be able to read everybody's minds using this caffeine.
I don't want to disappoint you.
Yeah.
But Google already does that.
Google does that already?
Yes.
Is that theirs?
Yeah, that's
okay.
theirs.
I don't want to step on their toes.
Yeah,
I don't
think
want to take
maybe Facebook has a similar system. That's why when you
Yeah.
go on the internet and the ads are things that you're like, oh, I didn't know that I needed that, but I know that, but I do need it.
That's not the experience that I have with ads on the internet.
Or like, I bought this thing, and so that it knows that you want that more of that thing. Like if you bought a toaster, it knows you want more toasters.
Wait, hold on. Adam.
Why would it ask you?
That is
Because
exactly how it works. That is correct. Once you purchase one toaster, you're going to be unhappy with that toaster.
or you just need a bunch.
You might need more. You're like, now that I have a toaster in my kitchen, what if I also had a toaster in my living room?
See, here's the thing: is that the natural assumption is that you have enough toasters. That's the natural assumption. How do they know that you want more?
Is it the natural assumption?
I would say.
I think that's the ignorance talking. I think that's people who are living like, oh, I probably have enough toasters, but they just don't know.
They don't know.
They don't realize. Have you, dear listeners, lived in a house with 4+ toasters? 5, 6 even?
They don't have to be good ones. You just have to have one in every room.
Once you have toasters everywhere you go, your life it's going to start turning around.
Everything is toasted. Like
Everything.
it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's a good life.
Yeah. You make pork chops in the toaster.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this episode is going to be this Extrasode. Fortunately, it's just an Extrasode.
Yeah.
It is going to be a bit more off the rails than usual because we messed up.
Yeah, we did.
We made a mistake, a fatal error, and thus we now must die for our fatal error. But there's a bit
the
of a
world
delay.
will come with us.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's right. Doomsday plots.
Yeah.
Bring
it back.
Yeah. The editor's note in which we announced the topic, in the show notes of that editor's note, we announced the topic of today's Extrasode, and that went live this morning. The morning that we're recording this, 2 hours before this recording is happening, is when that editor's note went live.
Like possible way that you could get us questions in time.
Like I guess people on the Patreon that watched it live like a week ago could have sent in some questions, but they didn't. I didn't have any. I checked through the question thing and didn't have any about Doomsday plots. And it's not like this topic is really like
no, this is just
question
kind of goofing around. So
yes, it's exactly. But hey, it's what you voted for out of the options of the 3 options of. Hey, us goofing around different ways, which are all the things you suggested. Look, we are here for you until next month, in which we switch over to being entirely here for ourselves, and then we go back to being here for you again.
Yeah. All right. So let's destroy the world.
Sounds good. All right. So Doomsday. Oh yeah. Do we have any sort of Trevor? Do you have a transition
music there?
Do you want anything?
You don't have to.
No. Yeah.
There it
here's
is.
it. Yeah.
Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and
I
Adam.
like what Cody said here. Quantum entanglement coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nate says, does that make it coffee?
Coffee.
And I like it. I like it. Okay, so I think that we should make a few different plots here, right? And I think
definitely. I think that we should have a few different scales of plots.
I was going to say that's the exact same thing.
Yeah,
so we should start with just like a
think
city.
Oh, you want to start small?
Yeah, start with
big?
a city. Just
Okay.
destroy a city. And then we do maybe like, I don't know about a state. But like, if you're going to destroy a state, why not a whole nation?
Because you might want to destroy a state in order to convince the rest of the nation, hey,
And like with
don't mess with me.
most states, you're not destroying much more than one city anyway, like one important city.
Wow. Disagree strongly.
No, like, so, I mean, unless it's like
Most
Texas
states
or...
most states have at least a few important cities.
Okay, no, they have like
Yeah.
one big city.
No.
Unless it's Texas or California,
No.
because California has 2.
No.
Texas
California has at least 3. California has
3.
LA. California has San Diego. California has San Francisco.
Oh, I wasn't counting San Diego as important.
Okay. So, anyway, you're wrong. There's definitely multiple important cities in every state.
But like, no, I don't think that there is
Yeah,
still.
I think there are. Now, important cities, do you mean like capital cities? You're right. There's only one capital city in every state.
In terms of scale.
In terms
like,
of population?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
In terms of scale, there's only one city worth destroying in any given state.
So, in the state of
it-
Missouri, where we currently live,
Right.
would you say that's St. Louis? Would you say that's Kansas City? Both those two are in Missouri.
So this is a weird case.
Nope.
Because-
this is a case
no,
but I'm telling you,
this is-
most states have a couple of major cities
No,
at least.
I'm saying this is a weird case because half of each city is on half of two states.
Yeah,
but like,
it's not even half that's in it's in Illinois. Of St. Louis.
like I would attribute Kansas City to Kansas, and I would attribute St. Louis to.
So is Kansas City the important city in Kansas?
Yes.
More so than Topeka?
Yes. Yeah.
Topeka's the capital.
Doesn't matter. Like Topeka's a podunk town in comparison.
But you think that Kansas City, Kansas is more important than Kansas City, Missouri?
It's all one city, though. It's all one city.
It's got a state line right into the middle of it.
I know it has a state line running, but it's still one city.
So if you destroy the city of Kansas City, are you destroying the important city for Kansas and Missouri? You're getting two birds?
Well, yeah, I think yes. Yeah.
Do you think that Kansas City, Missouri is more important than St. Louis?
No, I think
that's
that,
definitely not
I
the
think
case.
that Missouri is a weird case in that you have two options of destroying the important city for Missouri. Because if you destroyed Kansas City, then people would say, "Oh, they destroyed the important city for Missouri," but they'd also say you did it for Kansas. But if you did it for St. Louis, they would just say Missouri.
Yeah, they're not going to destroy.
They wouldn't
say Illinois.
They wouldn't say Illinois.
But
no,
I think
Chicago would be the one that you did.
Right. I think that
Illinois.
most states, in terms of scale, in terms of importance to the state, in terms of population of people, has at least two cities that count as important.
I think that there's only like a dozen viable targets roughly in the United States.
And there's a dozen targets in the U.S. Okay, let's lay them out.
Okay.
What are the dozen targets?
So obviously New York.
New York, the state?
The New York City.
Okay.
I'm saying.
All right.
I'm just saying cities.
You're just saying cities. Okay.
Yeah. New York's a viable target.
Okay, New York City.
LA is a viable target.
Sure.
Those are two big ones.
Okay.
Chicago.
All right. You've got three so far.
Right. Yeah, I have three.
Yeah.
So like I'm struggling to figure like. So I would say okay. So San Francisco probably I would say is big enough.
Sure.
Roughly.
Okay.
Maybe Seattle.
Sure.
That's not a bad one. I feel like all of Texas's are interchangeable.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't think that you could get Houston and Austin and Dallas? You don't think that's three different targets?
I think that you wouldn't. You're getting diminishing returns in terms of emotional impact. From
sure,
because you like if you destroy one city in Texas, I feel like people like a second city, people aren't impressed anymore.
Okay. All right.
So like the first time I was with you.
The second time is like
the second time it's okay. Now you're just showing off.
I mean, Houston and Dallas and Austin all are very different cities with like really different culture and demographics.
Yeah,
and things.
yeah, I know that. So if you were to pick one from Texas, although like I don't know that any of those has the dramatic impact of New York or LA either, though.
Okay. So you're saying there's no important targets in Texas?
No, I'm not saying they're not important necessarily, but like they're.
That's exactly what you said. You said there was only 12 important targets in the U.S.
Right.
And now you're picking none of the Texas ones.
Yeah.
Okay. We're up to 5 so far. You got 7 more. And you don't even think you had. You think that maybe 12's
I think maybe stretching. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm also talking about I'm not talking about purely death toll. I'm talking about the drama of it too.
Sure. So I'm gonna yeah. Go, so do you have any more, or are you spent?
I think Miami because you can do something dramatic.
Sure.
Like that.
That was one of the ones that I was gonna ask you about.
Atlanta's not bad.
Sure. The CDC is there. So
Yeah.
that's pretty important.
Oh, Washington D.C. obviously.
I was really hoping you were going to get to the end of your list and not mention Washington D.C. So I could be like, but Adam.
Yeah.
Adam.
Yeah, that would have been foolish.
Don't worry. I think you've paved that road. You are ready.
Yeah.
So you don't think that there's anything notable, like if somebody say destroys Albuquerque wasn't going to be on your list. You weren't going to mention Albuquerque.
It wasn't going to be on my list.
I could think of a few that you might have said, but that one I don't feel like you're going to be like, hey, I was going to say that. So if you think that if people destroyed Albuquerque, you'd be like, that just wasn't that big of a deal. That wasn't that important of a target.
No. I think that it would be a tragedy.
Sure.
It wouldn't be doomsday.
Okay.
That's like you don't use a doomsday device on Albuquerque.
Okay. All right.
That's,
Even
that's how I
but
feel.
like, but I mean, I think it's blowing up Dantooine. It's saying, hey, check it out. We've got this doomsday device. I'm going to blow up Albuquerque. Next, I'm going to blow up New York City, Washington D.C.
But like, no one cares about blowing up Dantooine. They blow up Alderaan.
Sure, but you're blowing up Alderaan is not blowing up.
Dantooine's far too remote to make an effective demonstration.
So you don't think, but you think that blowing up Albuquerque is blowing up Dantooine?
Yeah, I do think
somebody uses a doomsday device on Albuquerque,
Right.
and people go, they probably didn't really mean it. They're probably not that big of a threat.
Yeah.
So if I've got a doomsday device and I'm like, hey, I can push this button.
They would just go, oh, lone gun or whatever. Like
I can push this button. I send I post a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I live stream on Twitch.
Yeah.
He's saying, look, I can push this button. I can blow up Albuquerque, and I do so.
Yeah.
And then people go, this
No,
guy.
They would go. I mean, it would be a tragedy. It would be like
And I say, okay,
big deal.
and I
The
could
cops
do it
would go
again.
after you, and like,
I could blow up Washington D.C. or something, but you're thinking that it wasn't an effective.
no, I don't think. I don't think that it is. I don't think that the world takes notice.
Okay, interesting.
That's like. But I think if someone sets off a bomb in a smaller city, or like even if it blows up the entire
Albuquerque's
smaller
not that
city,
small of a city.
I know, but like it's not as big as L.A. by a
Sure.
long shot. It's like half L.A.
But it's still.
But they're like,
and I mean, if you want to talk about size, like the
like
Texas
also
cities are,
like
yeah. So you don't think that Houston or Dallas or Austin? I can see Austin being less of, but you don't think that Houston or Dallas fit into that category?
No, not really. I mean Dallas, because it has the airport hub. Like that's.
You think that Dallas would be a bigger deal than Houston?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. How do you feel about Boston? Okay.
I think Boston might be okay. Like I feel like though, if you're getting to Boston, you might as well do the entire Eastern Seaboard.
Oh.
Like
Sure. No, I agree. But we're talking about scale. So like that's the thing. Is,
Right.
I know if you're doing a big doomsday device thing, I agree. You want to.
But there are bigger targets in the immediate vicinity. Like
Okay.
if you're shooting for that area, you go, well, here's Boston, New York's that way, Washington D.C. is that way. I'm just gonna pick one of those.
Okay.
You know.
If you can hit Boston, you might as well go.
You
So
might as
you
well
think
go
anything in the Northeast area, you might as well go for.
Everything's safe because New York's there. It's a lightning rod.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Unless you're trying to subvert expectations.
See, this is the thing. I think that there's a lot of value for going for one of the targets that's lower on your list of quality.
Well, I think that there is, but I think that only if you're going to do multiples.
If you're like, look, I blew up Boston and Albuquerque and Portland.
Because you need to prove that it's a coordinated thing at that point, and not just like some rando.
I think, okay, so here's the deal. I've got my, we're saying just push a button and blow up a thing. That's not a doomsday device. Orbital death lasers are easy, and we've done a lot of them. So this is going to be a series of tunneling bomb bots that we've created that are just like going around deep underneath the strata of the Earth, but they can then shoot up a thin beam of energy up through the crust. To a specific point to then like flood that whole city area with the magma that is there in the crust and the mantle. So this is my doomsday device I'm using for this. I think that if I had, again, I'm live streaming on Twitch, Switch.
Yeah.
Whatever. And you can watch me, and I'm sitting there, and I'm looking at a map of the U.S., and I'm like, strategic targets. I want to show you that I have a beat on everything. So I've got a map of the U.S., and I look at it, and I throw a dart, and the dart lands in Albuquerque. I'm like, all right, boop, 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 boop. Albuquerque is gone. I throw another dart, and it lands in Kansas City, Missouri. And I just go, boop, 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 boop. Kansas City, Missouri is gone. Kansas City, Kansas, untouched.
It's fine.
Right. I think that if I were to do that, people would be like, oh wow, oh no. Like, he's not picking his targets in advance. We're watching him live, randomly picking targets.
So
Reno, Nevada, South Dakota, Decatur, Iowa, like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah, there is something scary to the randomness of it.
Yeah. And to the like...
The chaos that you're introducing.
Well, and I think also to the... if one of those darts hit Washington D.C., you know, but yeah, I get that. Like you're making an action movie. You're like, okay, terrorists are infiltrating Albuquerque. Like
there you go. Okay. I mean, can the cops stop them? Seems like not superhero material.
I'm surprised that you didn't mention Las Vegas. I think that Las Vegas makes for a really good target because like everything
is a very cinematic target,
right?
Very like comparably small city though,
right? But like the destruction there would be really like you said, cinematic. It'd be really good to show. It's good media fodder.
Yeah.
To be like,
well, I mean, and that's the other question is landmarks.
Yeah.
Who has the most important landmarks?
I mean, that's your capitals are good for that.
But like, I think Mount Rushmore is a good thing to destroy. But like, there's
Grand
no
Canyon,
one there.
Yeah, but I mean, destroying Mount Rushmore is good because you're like, you know, blowing up the faces of the presidents. Right. Whereas like destroying the Grand Canyon is like, what did you mean? Did you fill it in?
I filled it in.
You filled it in. Your doomsday device. You filled in the great. You filled it in and paved it over. It's like, haha, there is no more canyon. It's now just the Grand Parking Lot. Yeah. All right, cool. I like
Soon Casino.
I really like that plot. Fill in the Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
What if you fill it in with like acid?
You could flood it. Yeah, you could flood it with acid.
So it's like it's a acid that doesn't just eat away the ground around it, but you're like, the Grand Canyon is now full of acid.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know what's on the ends of the Grand Canyon.
Really?
Yeah. Does it slope out, or does it just like stop like a cliff?
It just stops. It's just going along, and then doop. That's it.
Like, is it just like a hole straight in the ground, or does it like peter off?
Well, there's a river that runs through it.
Yeah.
And so that goes the rest of the way. So.
Right, but like, does that go through a cave at the end, or
there's a cave at the end, and then there's like a flume slide thing.
Yeah. They put in a water slide.
It's just a water park.
You could take a float trip down it, and then go down the water slide.
It gets into a cave at the end, and then it just goes out, and then it drops out into the ocean.
Man, I'd do that.
I know.
Sounds fun.
Well, the cave's really dark, and there's a lot, which is fine. But then there's a lot of. I
like those dark ones. There's the. There used to be a water park. That I would go to as a kid that had it was like a solid black slide, so it didn't let any light in the whole thing.
Your mom just put you in a trash bag in the back of the car and drove around for a couple hours.
Just poured some water in it.
Ooh, the water park! Are you having fun, Adam?
Wee.
Cool. Yeah. No, so I was saying that the cave at the end of the Grand Canyon, the end of the river of the Grand Canyon, has a bunch of stalactites that are hanging from the ceiling, and it's just dark. You can't see them, so you're likely to knock yourself out on one of those. So it's not safe. It's not properly zoned for water parkery.
Yeah. Ecuador says the Colorado River is what goes through it. There's rapids on one side. The other way, you eventually hit the Hoover Dam.
There you go.
Which is actually another great target.
Oh, Hoover Dam's a good target. Yeah.
So, okay, so let's start smaller than city then.
Let's go with specific landmarks.
Landmark. We'll go landmark, then we'll go city, then we'll go country.
Okay.
And then we'll go world.
So landmark, top 5 landmarks.
Top 5 landmarks.
Yeah.
In terms of
a thing to blow up.
Impact or viable targets.
I feel like those lists should be really similar.
Emotional impact?
I feel like those lists should be super similar.
The White House is symbolically a very
that's a good target
thing to destroy.
Right. I think that the impact. I think like.
Boy, this episode is putting us on watch lists.
Right. If we weren't already, people are like, so they're actually villains.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that seems like the prominent one.
Yeah. I think Pentagon is pretty close behind it. Mm-hmm. I think the Golden Gate Bridge is actually pretty
dramatic.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Despite the joking, the Grand Canyon's not actually that effective.
No. I mean, if you successfully filled it in, people notice.
People would notice. They would, but like, there's no death toll on that. Basically.
No, there would be.
There'd be like a few people.
No, maybe There.
But people would mostly be like,
dozens.
Oh, hey, they're filling this. We get out of the way. The trucks are back.
No, that's the thing. That's the thing. Is if you fill it in with a bunch of dump trucks, like infinite dump trucks, the biggest dump trucks ever.
Yeah.
Then okay. No, people will be like, well, that was just like a logistical feat. Like, it seems bad. I don't know where you did it, and it's gonna have a bunch of negative impacts.
It's some sort of expanding foam or something.
Right. That's the thing is, if overnight people wake up in the morning and the Grand Canyon is filled in. There is no Grand Canyon. It's been filled in.
Yeah.
then people are like,
The tourists show up and they're like, "Where is it?"
there is no Grand. There never was. All the signs have been removed. The
There's
visitor
lighting
center
fixtures
Yeah.
there to like as though there was never a.
It never was a Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
You just gaslight the entire country. What Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I have
You delete the Wikipedia page for it.
I actually have a friend who was at college in the dorms, and his friends did that to him. That
They removed the Grand
he,
Canyon.
He left for the summer.
Oh.
And they wallpapered over his door with a matching wallpaper, and they put a lighting fixture on it.
Nice.
And then everybody acted
As
like
if there was never a door there.
well, they acted like they didn't know him.
Yeah.
Also, and he was like, "No, I swear, man."
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So here's the question: what's the line between really negative, awful, don't do them pranks,
Yeah.
and pretty innocuous doomsday plots? Like,
They start to blur.
right?
They do start to
Because the filling in the Grand Canyon as a doomsday plot seems just more like a dumb prank that's bad.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
blowing up Mount Rushmore, definitely like doomsday plot sort of thing.
Right.
Changing all the faces on Mount Rushmore, kind of just a weird prank.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
it's a thing. It's a supervillain prank.
right? It's a supervillain prank.
It toes the line of
It's doing-
doomsday device.
yeah, but the impact is one of like, huh?
It's moral victory.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
yeah. So
You got some people in the chat that are like,
yeah,
"What
we
are
have-
these guys doing?"
no, I have people in the chat suggesting landmarks.
Oh, okay, here we go. Yeah,
Statue of Liberty.
of course, it's a
Obviously.
great one.
Um,
Might be even better than the White House.
yeah, it might be
Yeah,
because it
Probably.
is literally a symbol.
right.
If we're
Smaller than you think it is. If you haven't seen it, the Statue of Liberty,
Oh,
big.
yeah.
It's impressive and all that. But there's
there's
like a lot of
also-
movies represented as being
there's-
much larger.
the most notable one was Cloverfield. The head like comes into the street.
I never saw that one, but yeah.
It's in the trailer. You can just watch that and you're fine.
Okay.
But it lands in the street and it's probably 2 stories tall, and like crushes a bunch of cars and stuff. But
It's not that
like-
big, is it?
No, it's not nearly that big.
Yeah, I didn't think the head. I
think
yeah.
that it's like double the size in that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, Statue of Liberty is a good one.
are we leaving the country for this?
Oh sure,
Okay.
all over the world.
Okay.
Let's stop being so it's the Vatican.
So ethnocentric.
Yeah.
Is that? The Vatican's good.
Vatican's-
The pyramids, obviously, that's a
Pyramids
great
are
one.
good. Yeah.
What's the best with the pyramids though is to build your device inside of them, and have them open up.
have the pyramid like?
Yeah.
It's like we've destroyed the pyramids from the inside out and turned them into something terrible.
Yeah. That's what's best with pyramids.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Great Wall.
It's pretty okay wall. It's better than Hadrian's Wall. I'll give you that.
Right. The Great Wall is not a great target though because it's so long. Like
I
you're
think
just
that if
destroying
you-
like a segment of it.
See, I
or-
think that if you you show a shot of the world,
Yeah.
and you see the little line of the Great Wall there,
and you
can-
laser it,
and you see just like a series of
and you destroy
the whole thing comes down simultaneously.
Yeah,
like
that's impressive.
right.
Sure,
Yeah, taking out the Great Wall, especially if it's not like also all the countryside around it is destroyed. No, just the Great Wall.
Right.
Like very precise destruction. It seems to me has a lot more impact than like general. Okay, yep, we blew up the entire state of Wyoming.
Right.
Sure, okay. Or we lasered out this really precise thing in just the right way. Or even better, you don't see the lasering, you don't see the explosions. It's there and then it's gone. Like
It just
what?
disappears.
Because that speaks to the amount of power required to do a thing like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Eiffel Tower,
Oh yeah. Yep. It's a good one.
the Big Ben in the House of Parliament there. That'd be not bad.
There's a lot of really cool
That's like
buildings.
the equivalent of the White House to us, I would think.
It's pretty similar. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool buildings, the Burj Khalifa and stuff like that in Dubai. That
Destroying man's crowning achievement of architecture there. Yeah. The tallest building in the world.
I like going after. And I'm not saying this is Christopher, like the idea, want to do this. Like, no. But like for doomsday plots,
blanket disclaimer.
Yeah,
no,
right?
We're not doing any of these things.
right? We're not actually villains, nor do we want these things to happen.
No. I would be deeply saddened if any of them do.
Yes, very much so. International Space Station,
Oh.
the space station, International Space Station.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's like
not a target in the world up there. and pretty fragile target, but it is both a functional thing, but also a symbol.
Well,
The flag, the U.S. flag on the moon.
oh, yeah, that's a small thing that you could destroy very easily, but
No death toll,
You gotta get
very
up there.
low impact, but you land a big old space, like you land some sort of like giant dreadnought thing on it.
you just kick it down and kick dust on it and put your own flag there. Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Is there anything else we're missing?
I'm sure there's a big Jesus down in South America.
Yeah, right.
You can blow him
It's
up.
Rio de Janeiro, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so cool. So monuments, landmarks, things like that.
Yeah. So bombs are easy.
Bombs are easy.
That's the simple. way
The
to
only
do
time I really
things.
like bombs is when they're like a weird, different bomb.
Right.
Some sort of like a special bomb that has weird
I
parameters
didn't
or a
mind
clever way
bombs
to get it set up.
in terms of the Great Wall, because like what you described of them going
Yeah.
that's really good.
Bombs were used for that,
Mm-hmm.
but the whole thing is a anything that you're like, ooh, that is a feat of doomsday
That is an
logistics.
impressive thing.
Yeah, right. That's what you want. You
Right.
want something that leaves people going, not just how could they, but how did they?
Right.
Both.
How did they execute a controlled demolition on the Great Wall of China?
Without anybody noticing.
Without anyone noticing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're getting ourselves in more and more trouble with this. Because the next thing is like describing in depth and detail how we would pull these things off.
Right. So we need to not make these realistic is the key here.
Do you want to make up a monument? Let's make up a monument.
Okay, let's make a
Oh,
monument.
thank goodness. I felt like there was this wall that we were approaching of like,
Of like, how do
we're
we
going to get to the
destroy
point we're
these?
naming like cities and we're naming states and we're naming places in the world that are important, and now we're about to
We're
describe.
officially listed as terrorists on
Yeah.
several countries.
Yep.
We can't go to Egypt anymore.
No, because they're like if those guys end up here, they'll burrow into our pyramids and turn them into doomsday devices from the inside out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh man,
Oh,
oh boy.
Jesus wants a hug. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna read through this chat and then
Yeah. Let's.
this is just gonna shake it off here. Whew.
Jay-Z says so. So you think stage magicians make the best doomsday villains? Where's the line between stage magician and doomsday villain?
I mean, I would say
that blurs.
destruction.
That blurs as much.
Oh boy. All right, I've managed to scroll all the way back. There's a lot.
Yeah. Well, Jay-Z says also proper pettiness is trashing the footprints on the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Destroy the Panama Canal. That's also filling in.
Like Sunfire a while ago. I scrolled way back. Said Extrasode. Christopher and Adam argue about majorly populated cities and states.
All right.
Oh, I like Mr. Fox said, can you imagine the Twitch chat if an action movie villain goes live? So in the story where you got the live stream going
Yeah.
and you're like throwing darts at a map or whatever.
Yeah.
I like the idea that villain is like, oh, hold on, people are saying things in chat. No, don't look at that in the background. And they get distracted by what's going on in the chat. It's like, stop it, stop typing. How do I turn off the chat here?
People are throwing bits.
What are all these emojis? I don't have any of these emojis.
What did I have this one? Hey, what's up, fam? Destroy some landmarks today.
Be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Leave your favorite landmarks in the comments below.
So for every sub, I'll throw an extra dart.
My goodness.
I feel like that's the next step for Logan Paul. That's
Ooh, too soon? Oh, that's a good point. Blowing up a prison is a good supervillain statement.
Walking Target doesn't summarize non-canon letters page stuff, so it's going to be harder for certain agencies to discover our wicked planning. Although we're live right now, we're broadcasting this on YouTube, and they keep everything.
Well, and also we're going to post this.
Yeah, this will be on. Yeah,
it does go public. So that's the thing is the videos that we do for the live videos. I've stopped posting the links to them in the show notes on the website because the only place they're posted is the Patreon. You can go to the Patreon, and even if you're not a subscriber, if you're a Patreon supporter, you get the video a week or so before. You get it once where you finish recording it, and then it stays exclusive to you until the audio has gone live. And then once the audio has gone live, then the videos go live, but still on the Patreon. So you go to the Patreon. You don't have to log in. You don't have to be a Patreon backer to go to the Patreon and find those videos. They're all there in the posts. But you do have to go to the Patreon because you should go to the Patreon. It's a pretty cool place. Lots of cool people doing lots of cool things there. So, right, we need to make a monument. So,
okay, so we have a monument.
Do we want it to be a monument in the U.S. or do you want it to be somewhere else?
I don't think it necessarily. Let's make a UN monument.
A UN monument. That's great. Where do you put the UN monument?
You put it in Geneva, where that
makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Great. So you have a UN monument. Is it just like a big tablet with the Geneva Conventions inscribed on it? I think you want to do something more.
I think it's like this is okay. I got it.
Okay.
It is a bunch of figures, one representing each country of the UN Security Council.
Okay, but that changes. But go ahead.
And they're all like, it's a bunch of people.
They've all got their hands outstretched.
Here, and there's like a world in the middle.
And so they're all like
hundreds of feet tall.
Sure. I'd want to do a thing with like cool magnets and suspension and stuff to where they're all reaching their hands out and the world is suspended in a way that it's not touching anything
at hundreds of feet tall.
Yeah,
sure. Okay,
so you've got this like globe that is there just hovering because you do it with like magnets on the inside of it and then magnets at the end of the hands, and so it just makes it sit there, and so it's secure, but you've got this globe that's just hovering there and all the hands outstretched towards it. Cool, I like that. Yeah. Do you when the Security Council changes or when new countries are added or removed, do you?
It's just whenever they made it. It's
okay.
like
it's a mark of that era.
None of them are like, oh, this is clearly an American figure.
Okay, so they don't specifically have them have a mark
branded, right? They just at the time they go like, what was there, like 12 nations? I don't how many are on there?
Let's say 12, like pool balls.
Okay,
like there's 12 pool balls.
Yeah. Right. I have this thing here that
would never work. So right. So you've got this monument that is a UN monument in Geneva with all of these representatives of the founding countries of the UN. We'll say. Yeah.
5 permanent members. So actually, you could just make it the 5 permanent members.
You
there's
could.
10 non-permanent. So there's 15,
like pool balls.
So 12.
12 like pool balls. So having the 5 permanent members there, and then you could have like additional like lower pillars around the bottom, where it's like, oh,
that's like
whenever a country's added, you can.
You can just add to it.
Yeah. Right.
At any time.
Yeah.
And
then when the country does something bad, people can come along and pickaxe it.
So
down.
you have the 5 China, France, Russia, the UK, and the United States symbolized in these.
Right.
And then you have the other 10 as pillars below it.
Right.
And then you have the world floating there.
Yep.
And
it's cool.
It's huge.
Right.
And metal and stone.
Okay, so the first thing.
Golden.
Ugh, really? Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, man.
It's gilded. It's not made of gold.
Yeah. I don't care if it's made of gold or not. My only issue is that like you want, anytime you have a monument that you want to keep shiny, you need to like factor in the time and effort of keeping it shiny. You'd have to clean it all the time.
So you have to polish it. Better to do.
That's not even vaguely true. Okay, so I can tell you right now, the first thing I'd want to do with it, which isn't a doomsday device, but I can make it into a doomsday. Okay, great. So the first thing I want to do with it as a supervillain is you have a villainous plot where you replace all of the giant statues, because all the people that are on the tops of the pillars that are reaching out towards the earth, towards the floating globe, all of those people are going to have to be way bigger than a regular human in order to still be visible and like to read properly from the ground. So you just put robots in all of those.
Oh yeah.
So the first thing you do is you have like where they they all like stand and turn, and like one of them grabs the floating world and throws it at something,
yeah.
and other people.
If you turn them into doomsday robots,
right. But so this is the thing: is what you do is you have them, because my thing is like, okay, this is what you do for an attack, for a super villainous attack, is you have them all like stand and turn and like begin attacking people. But what you do is you've got your 5 permanent there,
Yeah.
and you have them all stand. And like media attention, of course, you want this to be really visible,
Right.
Easy enough.
It's at the grand opening. They're doing the ribbon cutting ceremony.
Sure. They all stand and they turn towards the world. Now the globe that was the world starts falling.
Yeah.
It just slowly, it immediately starts falling because their hands come down, and so it starts falling. They all turn and they catch it simultaneously, and then between them they all push and crush it, and the world explodes.
Yeah.
And there's a big explosion, and there's dust.
There's dust.
And when the dust finally settles, they're all still standing. They're unmarred by the explosion, and their feet begin, like fire begins coming out of their feet, and they all blast off up into the air.
Yeah.
And they are missiles that are flying at those 5 countries.
Oh, that's good.
And so you have your doomsday devices. Okay, great. The
So
5.
you're destroying Washington D.C. and Moscow and London and
Paris,
Shanghai and Paris. What's the biggest city in China?
is that
Yeah, Moscow,
Beijing.
London, Paris, Beijing.
probably?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Washington D.C.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where those missiles are going.
Yeah.
And so then the heroes of the world, if there are heroes of this world, hope so, have to like scramble to stop these 5 missiles going for these 5 targets and all that.
Boy, that's good.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
So that's what I do. That's what I would do with that.
Yeah.
Do we want to riff on other things we would do with that, or is
So
is
we
that
use
it?
the destruction of a monument to escalate to destructing 5
Well, yeah,
cities.
because I think that what you do is you use the monument like, oh, this is a sign of your strength. Actually, it's a sign of the weakness of the world. Because
Yeah.
here's the deal: doomsday plots, doomsday devices. If you're not threatening the whole world, not really doomsday.
Right.
Like you can have, like that one's not a pull the moon into the earth sort of doomsday device.
Right.
It is a
This is I'm taking over doomsday device.
right.
Yeah.
Look at your strength. Look at your
It all means nothing.
you play at this proposed world government. I will show you a world government.
Yeah.
So I like doomsday devices that
Well,
are
that's good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I like doomsday devices that are in some way themed to the villain who's doing them. So I like that Baron Blade's pulling the moon into the earth because he's
Right.
got all of that.
It's just got moon imagery and
Yeah. He's
heraldry.
he's a lunatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing that I like to think of is when putting together doomsday plots, doomsday ideas.
We have comparatively very few doomsday.
We do.
plots.
Like Voss's invasion of Earth, I would call a doomsday plot because it spells doom for the
Sure,
entire
but
Earth
like,
and the human race.
From his perspective, it's not.
No, it's just
like
an alien
conquering
invasion.
another.
So here's a question: what
Yeah.
makes a doomsday plot a doomsday plot? Because I think that we've agreed that, like, sure, blowing up a monument or even blowing up a major city, even if it's on the top of Adam's list of the 12 cities in the U.S. that are the only ones that matter at all. I don't think that those really are doomsday plots. Those can be parts of doomsday plots. Those can herald a doomsday plot. Those can be part of the threat of the doomsday plot.
So you okay? Well,
because I think that like the
from that
situation of
perspective,
the tunneling under the world that's like shooting lances of energy up into the place, like that whole thing in of itself is a doomsday plot. But the blowing up of Albuquerque and of Kansas City, Missouri only is just the like, look what my doomsday device can do. Don't push me.
Right.
I'll do more.
Yeah. So I think that an actual doomsday plot in this context involves the destruction of the creator as well, or the potential.
Do you think so?
That like, and it has to depend on scale. But so like a doomsday plot for Baron Blade is is pulling the moon into the earth.
But Baron Blade's plots are always that's the case with doomsday plot. Is it has to doom the world. But you don't think that but like if you were blowing up the world, but you were safe in your space base in space, then you don't think that counts as a doomsday? I think that counts as a doomsday plot.
Well,
like, I don't think doomsday has to specifically.
but it has
like,
to be the world.
I don't. I don't even know. I think a doomsday plot could be, hey, we have added this extra secret molecule onto all of the caffeine molecules, so everybody who's drinking caffeine in the world, your brains are all now going to explode. I think that's a doomsday plot. You're killing most everybody in the world, but you're not blowing anything up.
Yeah.
You're not blowing the world up.
Like Ice 9 is a doomsday situation.
Right.
It can destroy the world or leave it in a post-apocalyptic state. Maybe.
So what matters more here, the world or the human race? If somebody's destroying the world and 99% of humanity manages to get onto the spaceships they already had prepared for this plan and escape, then the doomsday plot fails?
It's
I don't think it does.
the loss of human life.
Sure. Yeah, I agree that loss of human life is a part of it, but I think if somebody does a doomsday plot and they blow up the world, even if 99% of humans escape, let's say they were prepared for this eventuality, had a bunch of spaceships, had a bunch of escape pods, and bases set up on Mars. So I was going to say the moon, but you're blowing up the world, you need to get further away than that. So let's say they've got a plan in place, they enact the plan, and the vast majority of people get away and survive.
Okay.
But the world is still exploded.
Yeah.
Doomsday plot succeeded because it blew up the world. The humans were able to escape, but they didn't stop the doomsday device.
I don't know that is considered doomsday at that point, though.
I mean, I think it still is. The everybody's homes are destroyed.
So we need to establish what doomsday is.
Are we going to go to some dictionary definitions here?
Yep. We need to define our terms. Okay, so doomsday, according to Goggle, says the last day of the world's existence. In Christian belief, the day of last judgment, or a time or event of crisis or great danger.
Josh Valiant was like, aren't there 15 pool balls?
Yes, Josh. Yes,
you're correct.
You are wearing green and purple.
I am.
And laughing a lot.
Yeah.
You're laughing maniacally about.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So it seems like all right. It seems like it's passing the threshold where in which life as we know it is no longer possible.
Okay, but I mean, so that succeeds if you blow up the world, but everybody has to flee to Mars.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. If you blow up, I would say, though, if you blow up all of America and the rest of the world is unharmed and nothing else changes, I mean, that's not a doomsday.
The rest of the world wouldn't be unharmed and lots of things would change. Blowing up an entire continent is going to mess up the rest of the world. It's going to change the way trade is done in the world. It's the way going to change the way that the globe itself works.
I don't view that as a doomsday plot. Like
if all the people that were in America managed to flee and get to other countries, now everywhere else in the world has too many people. Like, I think that blowing up an entire country is going to change. Like, blowing up an entire continent is going to change is going to doom the rest of the world and the human race. It's going to change the way that everybody lives. Even Antarctica. You blow up Antarctica, great, fine. Big problems for the rest of the world.
Well, okay, blowing up Antarctica, though, like, you're talking about a lot of ice and you can, like, flood the entire world with that.
So you're saying that blowing up Australia is not a big deal then? Let's say everybody gets out. Yeah. Everybody has, I was going to say 48 hours. Forget it. Everybody's got 3 months advance notice. They all get out.
Uh-huh.
They all find places to live in other countries.
Yeah.
You blow up that continent, and that doesn't change life for everything. I think it does.
I don't think it changes it on a doomsday scale, though. Like, I would not consider that doomsday. You blew up an
entire continent.
I know you blew up an entire continent, but all you blew up was dirt at that point.
Man, I tell you what, you start first with how Albuquerque's not worth it, and now you're on to the entire continent
You
of
got
Australia.
the people out of there.
Sure.
Australia's a people, not a place. That's
Definitely a place.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, what's important? The place is not important. The people there are.
The place is also important.
I don't think it. Like, I don't think that a bunch of dirt is that important in the terms of like. So okay, like if you blow it up,
yes,
and there's a hole there,
right?
Obviously, you're affecting more than that,
right?
If you irradiate it so that you can't live there anymore,
now there's an entire continent on the planet that is super irradiated.
And I know, but you got everybody out. Like I'm saying,
I would say that the bombs dropped on Hiroshima were doomsday devices. If you think about it, it's still to this day super irradiated and all that. This is way smaller scale than blowing up Australia. Doomsday devices. It has changed the world. We keep talking about it to this day.
Yeah.
It's an important thing. This is way smaller scale, and the amount of damage, the amount of destruction, the amount of irradiation. Even if all the people had gotten out, the bombs dropped in Hiroshima, let's say all the people had gotten out, still a huge giant deal that would still have changed the world to this day. Doomsday.
Okay. All right.
Now,
All right.
I agree. I think we're saying that doomsday is a spectrum.
I'm trying. It definitely is.
Right, because like blowing up the entire world versus.
I'm trying not to dilute the term that much. Like, is the thing, because like doomsday seems like a dire thing for the entire world.
Right, but I think that
and I don't think that Hiroshima was a dire thing for the entire world.
I think
it changed
it was,
the entire
right.
world.
I think it was because. And this is different from the saying. I think that it was as a doomsday plot because, and now we're going to get into international politics and stuff.
Oh boy!
Because it ushered in an era of also lots of people have these.
Yeah.
If there was one period bomb, that it had been invented in a special way, so there could only ever be one of them, and it was dropped and it did that thing, and it was like, wow, that was super awful.
Yeah.
I could see an argument that okay. Yes, but it's hard to say that's a full-on doomsday plot because now it's done. And yes, it had a terrible impact, but that impact is now over, more or less. But the fact that, okay, these were dropped, and lots of people just have these, and more are getting them all the time now, I think that ushered in an era of doomsday becoming more commonplace. I think that was the thing that, like, not so much diluted the term, but made it more of like this isn't just like a fantasy weird thing that could maybe happen. No, this is a thing that has happened and could happen again.
Yeah, I think though that like doomsday is when to me doomsday is when everybody uses them, and like that's why
everybody uses them.
Right,
that's definitely doomsday. That is doomsday.
And that's
plot.
Why they have
that is
the
most realistic doomsday
that,
plot
like
that exists right now.
Right,
is everyone fires their bombs.
Right.
Or really, a few people fire their bombs because as soon as a few people
is one, and then
everyone else, down the line, whoo boy, getting real,
staring down the barrel of that one.
Right. Well, so that's the thing is like I mean I think the easiest this is the stuff that gets us on watch lists. The easiest doomsday plot is misfire one of those, is sneak into somebody's base and fire off somebody's nuke.
I think that they have contingencies in place for misfire that they go like, I mean, in case that happens, they go, hey, I'm gonna get on the phone to the other people that have nukes and talk to them and be like, hey, look, we're not doing this, like, and you just have to hope they trust you, I guess.
Right. See, that's the thing is, why would they trust you? Like, that's what you do. You fire off a nuke at another country and they call and you're like, hey, guys, there's a nuke coming your way, but we didn't mean to send it. It was a computer error. It has a rounding error. There's a Y2K bug is back again.
Right, the Y2K.
So, like, so let's talk about a doomsday device that isn't just launching very real bombs and making me feel super... anxious about this. Something like the Y2K bug. Something that's like, okay, all the whole internet gone.
Yeah.
That's a doomsday plot. You want to talk about, like, international trade, communication, life as you know it.
Well, I think that we're dependent enough on it at this point, on technology, because the Y2K bug ostensibly doesn't just take down the internet, it takes down all technology.
Right. All technology is gone, plunging us into the dark ages. A bunch of people definitely die right off the bat.
Right.
Like,
planes fall out of the sky.
For sure.
Planes fall out of the sky. I can't think of anything else that people die. Anyone on life support.
Right.
Like
trains. The trains don't run on time anymore.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
How will people get where they need to go?
Oh, man. Oh, man. I mean, so are you saying Y2K bug at its extreme level takes out all technology? Like what? Light bulbs stop functioning? Like what are we saying here?
Well, like light bulbs would work if you could get electricity to them, but
the grid goes down.
The grid goes down.
Okay, so everybody in the London Underground is definitely just dead.
Yeah.
Like they're not getting out of there.
Right.
That's just
So there's people that die right away, and then there's people that die of
soon
like
after
starvation
because they don't have the logistics. Okay,
Yeah.
so what sort of doomsday device? Who uses this device? They've got a device that they push the button and it turns off all the electricity. Because what they did is they made a bunch of nanites. Sorry, every time I'm like, I have the thing of like, okay, here's a doomsday plot. Let's just talk about the follow the plot.
Right.
My brain backtracks through and it goes, okay, but how did we get there?
Do that? Yeah.
Right, and
which that's the best way to make plots, I think.
Yeah.
Is to go, what's the result I want? How do I get there?
And how do I get there? Right.
Yeah.
And so this one, there's a bunch of nanites. Nanites are easy. You just introduced nanites into all of the electrical systems, and because the thing that like we're talking about is Y2K bug takes down the internet and all the technology. Better than that, you take down all the electrical grids. It doesn't matter.
I think that you could do it with just an EMP too. Like it doesn't have to go down permanently to be down permanently.
Right.
Is the thing. Like
especially with a lot of power plants are going to have catastrophic failures if they don't have the systems online.
Which I think that the best way to do that is to detonate a nuclear device in the upper atmosphere, because I think that creates an EMP.
A global EMP?
Maybe you have to do a bunch of them, but
I think you'd have to do a bunch of them.
Yeah. So if you had a global EMP, though,
global EMP, great, sure.
Yeah.
I was going to do nanites to take down the grid, but that's fine too.
Just pull a plug.
Just
unplug
find
it.
the one. Oh, here it is.
World shut down.
Sorry. Right.
Oops.
Right. So you do that. Who uses that? Who uses that as a doomsday device? Like you can use that you can use the threat of that to hold the world hostage. Be like, if you don't give me all of your doubloons, then I will.
This is someone who's like an insane sort of zealot of like technology has made us
like
evil.
A Black Knight sort of character who's like, I will plunge us into the dark ages where I will rule with an iron fist.
Yeah.
Or
like, take us back to this. This is where
gunpowder still works.
Gunpowder still works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where you get into
simple machines, but like you end up in a post-apocalyptic situation.
That's where you get your Mad Max times. That's where you get your Extremiverse. A good portion of the Extremiverse is dealing with that stuff. Yeah. So, the power only exists in cities that have their own internal grid.
Yeah.
Like Rook City.
Yeah, those doomsday preppers got their generators going. And,
right.
Yeah, they're all set.
I really like post-apocalyptic settings. And a lot
Depends
of them.
on the one. I
think.
That's fair.
That's fair. I like the idea of them, and a lot of them don't get enough into the how we got here. And I think that's a strength. I think it's good to be like, this is where we are. This is how the world works now. Let's not spend 200 pages on explaining it. Let's just live in this world. Okay?
I always like the picture that's painted in Fight Club of like drying the strips of venison on the abandoned superhighways.
Right, yeah.
I feel like the picture of the post-apocalyptic world is painted very well there. But
all right, more doomsday plots. We've done a few. We should do some more.
Yeah. So I was gonna say before.
Okay.
In terms of scale, like a doomsday plot for Baron Blade is Moon into the Earth.
Sure.
A doomsday plot for Voss, though, is like destroying a sun or something like that. Like, is an entire solar system.
I mean, by the doomsday definition that we agreed on, him invading the Earth isn't a doomsday plot from his point of view, but it is a doomsday plot from everybody on Earth.
Right.
And I would say, like any of the catastrophic alien invasion type things are doomsday devices. I mean, the movie Independence Day.
Yes, that is
definitely
a doomsday
doomsday
scenario.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to think of the thing. So, what would be, from Voss's point of view, a doomsday thing for him?
Yeah. What is it? I mean, it's. I actually even a solar system. I don't think is a doomsday for him. I think that it has to be like a galaxy.
Well, I think that the planet of Dr. Wrath being destroyed is a doomsday plot for him. Is it a doomsday plot against him? Because that's his.
So my question is though.
Yeah.
Like he leaves Dr. Wrath.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
and is gone most of the time.
So we're talking about like 60s, 70s, 80s era
Yeah.
boss right now. Yeah.
If he's gone most of the time,
Sure.
Is it that big of a deal if his home planet is destroyed? If like his command center is basically his ship?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I don't know that it is changed his life as he knows it to a way that like his like, but there's still so much of his military structure and support coming from there that I think that yes, like the Dr. Wrath that we see is one that has been missing Voss for a long time, and so that's where a lot of the unrest comes from. But before that, when he was still in power and in reality, he had a lot of control there, and that was like that was his headquarters. That was the base of his operations, much more than his command ship was.
Okay.
So I think that still counts as a doomsday plot for him. That said, I think his ship getting blown up, like we talked about in episodes about him and episodes about those stories, I think is a doomsday plot for him. The stuff where the ship gets shifted into the realm of discord and all that, like that's
a big deal.
Big time doomsday plot.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
all right.
Yeah.
Do you want to take some questions? Do we want to do one more of some sort and then take some questions?
Sure, we do.
Not really
more.
planned out on this so much as just kind of jamming.
Yeah. So I mean, another thing that I can think of,
Sure.
is there's obvious ones that we haven't covered, like radiation, or poisoning of water supplies, what have you, like that.
Sure.
But destroying food supplies
Yeah.
seems like a viable one also, like introducing some sort of you could even do it with bugs, honestly. Like,
like a pestilence, sort of.
yeah,
A plague of locusts.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you just got a bunch of bugs. So Jay-Z says, talking about taking down the internet, what you do is fire a device in the sun that causes a massive solar flare, or CME, that crashes into the planet and causes a giant EMP.
That's good.
The possible downside is you'll also take down every other electronic device too. That's not a downside. That's what we were trying to do.
I mean, it's a downside for humanity.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh, Josh the Valiant says, turn the world into an EMP. Use the magnetic poles to supercharge the pulse.
Sure.
That's not bad.
Sunvar asked about igniting the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think at one point we had a throwaway line about somebody igniting the atmosphere.
Maybe.
In one of the episodes, I think somebody was planning to ignite the atmosphere. I think that's come up before.
I thought so.
But that one definitely works. It's another one of those. But who uses that doomsday device and to what end? Like, what's the usable upside of that?
I think that something that we don't really cover is someone like Spite on a global scale. Someone that's just like, I don't care anymore. I want the world gone.
Yeah.
I want to just. I'm crazy enough. I want to just destroy everything.
So I mean, that's Oblivion.
Yes,
That's what Oblivion is.
Yeah, but that's a different feeling than
Right, but
someone
like,
on the world going, screw it.
Right, but that is
Like,
Oblivion, who is in reality saying, I want to destroy all realities.
Yeah.
And Oblivion wasn't doing that in a way that, like, okay, if all the realities are destroyed, at least Oblivion will keep getting to hang out in Earth space. No, like, without realities to anchor Earth space, there's nothing. No one would survive that.
Right. I don't
the
think
problem
I don't
with-
I don't think Oblivion's insane though.
I disagree. But I also think that Oblivion's sanity is measured differently than other things.
That's why I don't like.
But also, we need to talk about this in a couple weeks.
Okay.
This is not the time
All right.
to get into that.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the problem. So you have somebody with spite level wanting to kill people. I don't think igniting the atmosphere works for spite because he wants to kill people with his hands. He wants to have that
Right.
experience.
No, I'm talking about someone who just wants the destruction, wants everybody to die, wants there to not be a world anymore.
I feel like a person like that is going to have problems making the logistics go. Because there's so many things you have to do and so many things you have to have in place to make it a big plot like that.
What's more realistic,
Yeah.
I think, is a villain like an eco-terrorist that's like, humans are a blight on this planet. I'm going to destroy humanity and preserve the earth.
Right. So a big Professor Pollution plot.
Yeah. Professor Pollution gets a little bit more chaotic, I think, because she's going like.
I mean, okay,
she has
Akash
gas,
Buddha?
but yeah, like Akash Buddha, yeah.
Akash Buddha waking up every time she wakes up and does stuff. It is a doomsday scenario.
Right. Yeah, but I'm saying, from a person perspective, from a human being, saying like, I'm anti-human being.
Okay. I still think that person is going to have a hard time. If they are they're going to have to make a lot of concessions. And if they're willing to, they can make their plot work.
Yeah.
Because the problem is if they're like, oh, I'm so anti-human beings that I'm not going to work/deal with other human beings to make this thing happen, then it's never going to work.
I don't think that
you have to have more of an infrastructure set up.
Yeah, I don't think that they're anti-human beings to the point of not working with them, but they want the human beings gone at the end of it.
This is a group, in fact. It's got a leader, but this is a group.
Sure.
Instead of being Greenpeace, it's Green War.
Oh, Green War.
And Green War is
Green War
looking.
sounds like a story.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's what it is the name of the story.
Yeah.
In which these fanatical people who are like, that's it, humanity, it's over.
Right.
It's over for us, and our last act is going to be to take out the rest of everybody else.
And they could do it with.
They could do it with
igniting
the atmosphere is bad.
No, right. They could do it with a disease, though. I think would be their best bet.
Yeah, but the problem is the likelihood that that's going to really destroy a bunch of stuff, a bunch of the natural stuff in nature. The world will survive.
Will recover a disease.
It will recover. Yeah. I think the EMP is such a better plan for that.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But I don't think I think that too many people survive the EMP for this group's. Like, they want people entirely gone.
So what you do is you do a double whammy. You have a disease, but that way you don't have to have a really ridiculous disease that is impervious to all medicine or whatever. You have just a really strong and fast spreading disease.
Yeah.
And then you do the EMP, so it hampers anybody's ability to deal with it.
Oh, you do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you do, and that way you are taking out large swaths of people.
You just use like bird flu or whatever,
right.
And then
but then you remove people's ability to communicate about it, to treat it, and all that. So you take down the grid, get some diseases going.
Right.
You start at the CDC and you find where all of the strains of the diseases they have preserved.
Yeah.
And you unleash all those on the earth.
Yeah, just get them out there.
Yeah.
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 Destroy the place in Switzerland that they keep all the plants,
all the seeds,
the
seed bank. Yeah. Here's what you do if you're these people. If I'm getting into this mindset now. I'm like, okay, I know how what these people want. Doing that's still going to mess up the world a lot because you're going to have all these diseased corpses of humans all over the world. And yeah, the world will recover, but it'll take a lot longer. What you do is you threaten the world with a big doomsday event that's coming. And it's better if it looks like it's not coming from people. If it's like, oh, there's some sort of solar flare that's coming, and
there's
you convince
a meteor
people
that's gonna
right. You convince people that a thing is coming, and that thing is like a couple years away. Mm-hmm. So you convince people to evacuate Earth.
Yeah.
You convince people they've got to go. And so people
you actually have to do. I was actually just listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about this.
Interesting.
That he was like, we need 10 years lead time at least.
Right.
Because if we see a meteor that will destroy the Earth, we're way not prepared. So
yeah, that's true. But you convince people to get on ships
10 years. Yeah.
Well, but let's say this was happening in the world of Sentinel Comics.
Yeah.
Where technology is a lot further along, and they already have some space travel stuff going on.
Sure.
So let's say this is what happened in the world. You get a group that convinces people you've got to get off the Earth. This thing is coming and it's going to destroy everything.
Yeah.
when the people are then in the ships getting off the Earth, as those ships go out into space, you blow up those ships.
Yeah.
Now you've not destroyed the ecosystem of the Earth. With you've gotten rid of these people, solved that problem.
Yeah. I mean, that seems.
The other problem with that is that in the amount of years, to be at 2 or 10 or whatever of lead time going from we're getting ready to evacuate the Earth to we're evacuating the Earth, people are going to destroy the planet because they're like, okay, whatever sort of mining systems we need, we don't care what's harmful to the environment anymore.
They're going to make it worse. I think it's better to have diseased corpses
Just have everybody
that
kill
decay by the end of the first year. Like,
I mean,
the
diseases are going to still run around, but the things
the
will
planet's
survive.
not going to care about a bunch of diseased dead people.
Right.
Like, it'll just go, that's a little weird. And by the end of 10 years, it'll be like they were never there to begin with.
Right.
So,
well, this is a dark one.
Yeah.
This is
well,
one of the darkest.
We agreed to do this.
No, it's great.
So, yeah.
People asked for it. Come on, folks, give us some extrasodes for next month because next month we're doing Oblivion, and the extrasodes will be happening right before we get into Oblivion. So give us something bright and shining to talk about.
Yeah.
For that one. Okay.
So PETA, except more competent.
So Sonvar asks, if we have a situation like The Walking Dead, is that a doomsday plot? I don't know. And personally, I don't know enough about the story of Walking Dead. I don't think that.
I mean,
is in Walking Dead. Is there like someone that started the zombie thing purposefully?
I don't think I ever got that far.
Okay. But if someone started that purposefully to destroy things, then yes, it would be a plot. If not, it's definitely a doomsday scenario.
Right.
You
can have a doomsday scenario without it being a plot, certainly.
And like zombies in almost any form, any version of zombies are a doomsday scenario. Now there can be you can solve the doomsday scenario, but because zombies are a disease that kills everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's a world that you don't recover from entirely.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, and like Cat's Cradle is definitely a doomsday scenario, but it was not a plot.
Right. Yeah.
It was like an accident.
Yeah. Are we in the question section now, I guess?
Yeah.
We're taking questions?
Yeah, we're taking questions. Let's
So
do questions.
Chat, I think we're caught up with questions. So let's do the thing we do with questions. Trevor, you can just cut a bunch of this because I'm going to do a proper intro and outro going into the question section. But I want to give people in the chat time to start thinking of any questions they have. And we can keep riffing if we have more stuff come up. But at this point, we've done doomsday speculation, creation, and argument about terms for the last chunk of time. So yeah, I think that we're good to go to questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and type them in. Let's so Adam, let's close up the overview segment, and then open a question section. So.
Yeah, so that's how we would destroy the world.
Those are some of the ways. I don't think any of those are the ways that we would destroy the world.
No, I don't know.
The one that I like the most is the based on the fake UN monument, where then
that's the most fun.
That one's it's flashy. It's good. It's got a good sense of, and you can pull that one off where they destroy the globe and they fire towards various countries.
Yeah.
But then heroes can stop the 5 missiles, but then the villain can get away. Like that's a good one that you can do. Because a good proper doomsday device plot scenario is one where you are not as successful as what we've been talking about for the last hour-ish, but you're more unsuccessful. You're more you launch a thing and you're like, see how this could be terrible, but then heroes stop it, but then heroes probably can't catch the villain, but now they know the villain and there's going to be back and forth sparring. Like, great. That's kind of what you want for comics doomsday stuff. That's the sort of doomsday stuff we come up with is here's a really flashy and really dangerous thing that ultimately the heroes prevent.
Yeah, the most effective doomsday things, though, are like people don't know about them until it's too late.
They're much more insidious. They're much more dangerous. And
that's not the fun
and not as
stuff.
Flashy.
Yeah,
and a lot of times, those times you're going to have a lot more the subtle stuff that just doesn't make as good story. What you want is something big and scary, even if you don't have like a big monument that you made for this. Like, I mean, turning the pyramids inside out is good.
Yeah,
that was good.
That was a great one.
Yeah, I like that one. Good job.
Yeah.
So, So those are the sorts of things we do with Doomsday devices, and I think the most useful thing that we talked about here, depending on what reason you listen to this podcast, is the thing that Adam correctly identified that I was doing, which is talk about what outcome you want.
Yeah.
Work backwards from there. Be like, okay, what is the thing we want to happen in the long run here? Which is why I like the statues. Is like, what I want to happen is to fire a bunch of missiles that would definitely blow up a bunch of important things, but then have the hero stop it.
Yeah, but more important than that, in that instance, is making a statement.
Yeah.
About, and like, that's, in terms of comic books, that's really the bread and butter of Doomsday plots, is making a statement as well as
having some monologuing about, I'm blowing these things up because of this, and you people are going to suffer because of that.
Yeah.
And so, But so those are, I guess, the Doomsday plots we came up with today, and we'll do other ones other days. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take some questions.
Yeah, let's do. Trevor, it's time for the question music. Yeah.
Can they hear us there?
I don't know. Maybe.
Christopher and Adam reading letters to you. Christopher and Adam.
Okay, so now that we are into the question section, the questions we're doing today are all coming from the live chat because we didn't have any in advance because of the scheduling stuff we talked about at the top of the show. Yeah. But that's okay. We've got people in the live chat, and if you're like, man, being a part of the live chat, because the live chat has a lot of fun. They talk to each other more than they talk to us.
Yeah,
and if that sounds fun to you and you're not part of it, there is a level on the Patreon where you can join. And
jump on that.
Yeah. Lots of cool stuff.
Chat with us.
Yeah. Anyway, so that said, I don't really know what kind of... Usually we have a feeling for what the questions are that we're getting into.
Yeah, we have no idea at this time.
Going in blind, let's do this.
Yeah.
So I've got a question here. We'll start off with a question from Sanvar, who writes, can you ever have too many Doomsday devices?
Yeah, so this is pursuant to a conversation that we had in the Discord earlier in the week also, that I said you really only need one.
Right.
Like, you need one working one.
I think that it's okay. I think 2 is an optimal number. I think what you want is you want a Doomsday device that follows the lines of the statues. So you're like, look, a big Doomsday device with these statues that are also missiles, and they look like people, and they're really scary, and they're really, really noticeable with lots of good media attention.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
you have your real one.
I've got my burrowing bomber devices,
the laser ones,
that are going around and flooding, that have the ability to flood major cities with lava. Because
or Grand Canyons with lava,
or fill the Grand Canyon with lava. There you go.
Yeah.
Why
didn't we combine those two plots?
Because you want to, because you don't want to make the world. You don't want to make the world of Doomsday devices too small.
That's true, but the Grand Canyon filled with lava is pretty cool.
It's pretty good. I mean, it's gonna. It takes. I was gonna say it's not pretty cool. It's pretty hot. It takes a long time for that to cool.
It's so hot. It's cool.
Nice.
Yep.
So I would say you can have too many Doomsday devices, but I think you can also have too few. That in the case of if you had one, that's one of the things that I actually really like about the very, very first scenario of Sentinels: The Multiverse, which is the Baron Blade, Terra Lunar Impulsion Beam, because he's got a backup plan. You beat him up and you destroy the Terra Lunar Impulsion Beam device thing, and he says, "Okay, cool, great. I brought my power suit." And yes, of course, you still beat him up most of the time because he's a low difficulty villain. He's intended to be, but it has this thing of like, okay, great, sure, you saved the world, but can you save yourselves?
Yeah,
like I like that moment.
Yeah. I actually think that you can have too many. I don't know what the number is.
Yeah.
But like the more you have in proximity to each other, also
dangerous.
The more risk you're bringing on yourself before they actually get to do what their intent is.
I think you can definitely have too many. I think you can also have too few. I think that one is too few. It's just you're not you put all your eggs in one Doomsday device basket.
Yeah. Jay-Z asks, what would both of you consider the absolute worst way to die?
Alone.
I'm led to believe drowning is pretty awful.
Yeah. Death by 1,000 cuts, like death to torture, seems real bad.
I think that drowning's supposedly worse.
Yeah,
that. I don't want to drown. Also, like, I think the best way to die, to flip that question, the best way to die is that I don't know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like, boom, gone.
Yep.
You don't even feel it.
Yep.
Sure.
That's the best way.
So
anything that I have to watch it happen.
Yeah.
That's the worst way.
Right, which is part of the terror of drowning.
Yeah.
I think that like the pain of drowning or death by 1,000 cuts or torture or whatever,
Yeah.
like all those things are like you can figure out their scale there. I think for me the worst way to die would be slowly / failing. That if I'm trying to do a thing
Yeah.
and I die attempting to do that thing,
Yeah.
if there is if you and me and Paul and some other people we like, I don't know who, are in a small submersible craft underwater, and it's slowly filling up with water, and I have the ability maybe save us if I can just like get this door open in time, and I try my hardest. And fail at doing that, and as a result, I watch you all die, and then I also die.
Yeah,
that is the
bad.
worst.
Yeah.
Because it's like I'm not just dealing with death. Death in of itself isn't terrifying to me,
Yeah.
and pain in of itself isn't terrifying to me. I don't like it, but like fine.
Right.
But failing at doing something that is crucial,
Yeah.
that is the worst.
And then drowning on top of it.
Yeah.
Like there you go. That's the worst scenario.
Yep. That's what we got.
Yep. Good job. Worst scenario.
Thanks. All right. Another question from Sanvar. Would Skull Crusher Mountain be the theme for those deploying doomsday devices? So the song Skull Crusher Mountain by our friend Jonathan Colton is not a song about doomsday devices. Like it is. It's a mad villain, and he's got a plot to ignite the atmosphere. Okay, great, cool. And he's got his lair called Skull Crusher Mountain, and he's got his minions, and he's got the wolves that are hungry that are on the hillsides of the mountain. It is a song. It's a love song. It's a misguided, terrible, evil love song because this is a misguided, terrible, evil villain. But it's about him kidnapping this person and making a monster for them made out of monkeys and ponies. It is a misguided, terrible love song, and it's about that. It's not about the doomsday device. The doomsday device is secondary to that. Thus, I think it's not a good song to play while launching a doomsday device because it's going to distract you from the matter at hand.
Yeah. Well, Jay-Z has a follow-up to that
Sure.
that says, what is the perfect music to destroy the world to? So the obvious...
Lots of like you could do things like there's some really good staples like Tchaikovsky or Rachmaninoff are both very like music to destroy the world by because it's sweeping.
Ride of the Valkyries.
Sure.
Thus Spake Zarathustra.
Right.
Those are good old standbys.
Right. The old classics.
Yeah. But I actually would want something with a little more flair. I would want like a Back in Black.
I was going to say AC/DC would be your go-to for that. Yeah. I could make a case for certain Led Zeppelin or Rush songs.
I want the juxtaposition of fun song, dire happenings.
See, there's a part of me that is like, I want to pull something from like Elliott Smith or Iron and Wine or something that's just like super like, that's it. It's just cathartic. You just like, all by myself. Don't wanna be. Oh my god, yeah. There we go.
One.
That's it. That's it. That's what we're gonna play. If you guys ever hear that coming on the letters page, you know it's over.
Yep.
Burning it down.
Yeah, and
that's
synchronize
good.
your explosions to your music. That's
you do.
Yeah.
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 All right. I have a question from Nate, who writes, what is your favorite comic doomsday device that you didn't create? And do you think Mr. Fantastic has too many doomsday devices?
Okay.
So Mr. Fantastic has contingency doomsday device type things.
Yeah. I mean, well, he has the ultimate nullifier also.
Right.
I don't know if he still has it, but
I have no idea.
He had it initially, and Galactus was like, put it down.
So, but favorite doomsday device from comic books that we didn't create, and so we're starting to delve into properties that we usually don't talk about here. But I'm trying to think of a doomsday device that I'm like, oh yeah, that one just hits the spot. And I think that the problem is that most doomsday devices, the point of them is not here's this really cool doomsday device. It's here's the outcome we're going for, and here's how it was stopped.
Yeah, the things that stick out to me about comics usually are not the doomsday devices.
They're a means to an end. They're a storytelling device that moves the story forward.
Yeah. Like, By certain metrics, Sentinels.
Sure.
Like
Yeah.
I
X-Men,
like
yeah.
Sentinels as a
They're
villain.
definitely a doomsday
They like
device.
they're these
scenario.
big robots that are impressive and scary,
and they hunt mutants. They hunt anybody with mutated genes.
Yeah,
Like
they're relentless hunters.
Yeah.
They're
but
very.
they're hunting a
difficult to
portion of
destroy.
humanity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I like those a lot. I like a lot of the stories involving them.
Yeah. They sometimes they're handled really well and sometimes they're not.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know that I have an example of a doomsday device, like in general, of a doomsday device that I'm like, I think this is a really great one.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So also by certain metrics, Ultron is one that
Ultron is a self-creating,
self-perpetuating
doomsday device. Yeah,
That's
sure.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Those are good examples of doomsday devices. But
yeah. And we like those. That's,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agricor writes, are there any heroes from Doomsday alternate realities that you would like to have in Sentinel Comics other than Freedom 6 and Supply and Demand Benchmark? We really liked the Extremiverse Mad Max stuff.
Oh man, all the post-apocalyptic. I mean, honestly, all the Extremiverse stuff. Because even
that's one of our favorite realities.
Stuff.
I think there's a lot of good
might be our
stuff
favorite
there.
alternate reality. We have a huge bias towards it.
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of good stuff there.
Yeah. So I think that'd be like,
And
given
the
my
thing
druthers, I'd cherry pick a lot from there.
Of course it is, though, because like
It was written to be.
it is written to go like, what's the coolest we can make this?
Right. So we sometimes joke that all of Sentinels was written via rule of cool.
Yeah.
The Extremiverse is definitely
Right.
Yeah.
Let's push it. Here's the cool lever, and we just.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
But yeah. Trying to think of any other. I mean, I like the stuff that we do with the quote unquote omniverse, with the world where Omnitron has assimilated everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some interesting stuff there, and that's definitely a doomsday world.
Yeah.
So cool. You guys haven't asked any more questions.
Yeah. Ask more questions.
Cody, I like your choice of music there. That's good. Okay, it's cool. Yeah, we like the Extremiverse a lot too. I'm really happy with how that episode turned out. I wasn't sure
me
going
too.
into it
It's fun.
because it was so much.
Yeah, Josh, I don't think this is the first time we've acknowledged another property without gimmicks. I think we have before. Like we've talked about Star Wars. We've talked about
Star Wars we're talking about. The other comics properties, we usually are a bit hedgier about.
We have been hesitant. I think that we're a little bit
We're less
more
so now
relaxed,
because
relaxed about it because we're established enough.
right.
that-
At this point, and also this is an Extrasode. In an
Yeah.
Extrasode, I'm much more willing to be
That's true.
like whereas
This is just chill, us talking to you. We're
Yeah.
just hanging out
right
now.
Yeah.
We're
Plus,
just,
Trevor's going to cut all this.
just wrap it. If I had a chair, I'd turn it around.
Trevor's going to cut the last
Turn this
probably 90 minutes of this audio,
Yeah.
and then it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, Twitson asks, how much does the average citizen fear a Baron Blade announcement? And does Citizen Dawn do not? So like,
So how much does the average normal citizen of the world
Right.
in the world of Sentinel Comics?
if Baron Blade comes on all the
They're like,
TVs,
so is it a
Yeah.
recognizable face? So they're like, oh no, that's Baron Blade. We definitely know who that is. And the answer is yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Baron Blade is very much a known entity
Yeah,
in that
that
world.
would cause a panic. In
Yeah,
the
immediately.
urban
Baron Blade
center.
shows up in the world. People aren't are on the TV. People aren't like, oh gosh, I'm going to sit and watch this. They immediately start panicking and grabbing their belongings and running. They don't even know where.
Right.
Yeah. Citizen Dawn rarely makes announcements, but that's happened a couple times. We had that one story where she showed up in Megalopolis and
She doesn't
took
take
control.
over TVs though. She
No.
just goes to the center and makes a big proclamation, which
Right.
is sort of
and assumes that the media will properly get it out there. She doesn't even necessarily care about the media. She's like, people will know when I speak, they listen.
right.
So, but she does make announcements when she does things. The trick is that Citizen Dawn goes with long periods of time being quiet,
Yeah,
and then shows up for a big thing.
it's very dramatic when
Yeah.
she shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a better way of planning.
Yep.
I think we're probably good to go. Oh no, there's more. I don't know.
Star Wars we did.
What is the?
Ekrikor asks, are we members of the National Ray Gun Association, the NRGA?
Right.
And I'm not.
No,
but I have heard that they'll help you get your concealed inside the pyramids license.
Right. Yeah. If you want to.
So like, I might consider putting them up. That's.
It's interesting because I'm not sure how the National Ray Gun Association would help you with that when that is in a different country.
Because they license you here, and that's all that matters to them.
You just have to be licensed here to do those plots elsewhere.
Yeah. I think every country acknowledges the doomsday licenses.
I don't think any country acknowledges them as.
But if no one's acknowledging them, then what is it even?
Then your original statement was right that they all acknowledge them in the same way, which is to say, what is this?
Yeah. What's most important is that your plot is registered with other villains so that you don't overlap.
You don't want any crossovers.
Yeah, so that you're not like, I put this in the pyramids.
No, and I was doing a pyramid thing. I mean, imagine getting halfway into the pyramids, starting to carve out, getting ready to set up your laser stuff, and another villain walks around the corner, and you're like, Tom?
Yeah.
Tom, what are you doing here?
Like,
I'm setting up my thing. I can turn the pyramids inside out.
It's going to be a big magnet.
Oh, jeez. I was doing a pyramid thing. Is it Tuesday? I thought that Tuesday was my pyramid day.
No, maybe we can combine our pyramid. What's your pyramid thing? Does it work with magnets?
Yeah, but I really want to do this big speech thing where I'm on the TV, and I figured you probably want to do
I definitely want to be on the TV.
What if... Okay, hold on. I haven't set up yet. You've got your stuff already set up. Can you help me get some stuff together, and I can just go take over the Mexican pyramids?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think Karen's got the Mexican
pyramids. No, you're right. I remember her saying something. I was trying to remember why I was thinking of the Mexican pyramids. Okay, right. I'm going to have to figure something out.
I think there's one in India maybe that's not taken, and there's like some jungles there.
Oh, I think that those are on the docket for next year, though.
Yeah.
We're going to have to look at the schedule.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about this mix-up.
Memphis
has
a pyramid.
And scene. Good commitment.
Yeah.
Ooh, Arnanoff has a question. Mm-hmm. Would Zhu Long be a doomsday plot type villain? I would argue that most of Zhu Long's plots that actually make it out of the temple are doomsday plots. Like, they're quiet, they're secret. He's better at it than most, but they're all like, he's trying to change the world out from under people without them noticing until it's already changed.
Yeah.
Oni stuff is definitely doomsday plot type stuff, because if he were to unleash those in a really...
those are basically human bombs.
Yeah, they're worse zombies.
Yeah.
You know, in different ways, but yeah. So yeah, Zhu Long is definitely doomsday type stuff, but in a much more subtle and secret way, which makes it more dangerous and more effective.
Mm-hmm. Linkfox asks, if you could promote one of your minor villains to a doomsday plot status, which would you pick, and what would the doomsday plot be?
All right, we're each going to do one. I'm going to do one first because I have one, and then Adam will do one.
Okay.
On the spot. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So mine, just super off the cuff, is Night Snake.
Oh, okay.
Night Snake is going to work with some doctors. He kidnaps some scientists to get them to do this testing to figure out what happened in his genetic makeup to change him from being a person to a snake. Mm-hmm. And because he's going to try to save himself. This is a story, the whole story.
Yeah.
He's going to try to save himself. And ultimately, this fails. The scientists are like, no, this is you. And he flips out and he freaks out about it, and he attacks the scientists and flings chemicals everywhere.
Yeah.
But in the process of this, some of the scientists that are wounded, they get some of the stuff that they were studying that came from him in their wounds turned to snake people.
He wants to turn everybody into snakes.
And so he's like...
Yeah, I knew where you're going with this. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He wants to make everyone snakes.
Right, and so he's like, fine, if I have to be snake persons, then everybody's going to be snake persons. And
that's really good.
Yeah, so that is Night Snake's thing, and it takes a minor villain, but gives him a plot that like, oh, he's going to sneak some of this stuff because it has to get into an open wound. So he can't just like put it in the water supply. Like, yeah, sure, that's going to get all the people that have like sores in their mouths. Great, but he's got to figure out some system. Oh man, mosquitoes are good for that. Mosquitoes are real good for that. Gets it into the bloodstream. Figure some things out. So that's what I would do. I would do a Night Snake plot where he snakeifies everyone.
Yeah, mine is I feel like kind of obvious as Ray Manta.
Okay. Sure.
Like, he is, I don't have as much detail here, but like he's super conspiracy theory, and once it believes that like all the world's governments are conspiring against everybody. So like he wants to take down all the governments.
Okay.
And he would do so by putting devices into, like, he could do it technologically.
Sure.
But
I mean, that's the way he usually does things.
He could. I like
Yeah,
this. He
give me a
could
thing.
replace the world's leaders with robot simulacrums of
Yeah,
themselves.
he's not good at robot simulacrums.
Or like
though.
he could do like a little device in the back of
Yeah,
their head.
that is more likely. A
controls
mind
it. That's
control
what-
device is better because mind control devices are great for conspiracy theory guy.
Yeah.
But robot simulacrums is not.
He gives them all. Yeah, he gives them all a little chip on the back of their head.
They've all got Bluetooth earpieces.
Oh yeah, they've
He's
all
like,
got
they're,
that.
and he's like, oh, they're wearing the Bluetooth earpieces. They probably have a phone call or whatever, but actually no.
But no, they're
Yeah.
they're mind controlled
There you go.
through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they all like in unison go beep and put their nuke buttons. Yeah.
Oh, the nuke buttons. No,
Yeah.
that's the worst.
Why do they have all of the world's nuke buttons right next to each other?
And they're all just walking to the nuke
This was
button room.
very
and
poor
hey,
planning.
guys. There's some water cooler chats around the nuke buttons. All right, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jay-Z asks, what hero other than Medico or Wraith, who pretty much already did so, could most believably turn into a Doomsday villain, and what would their Doomsday plot be? A hero that would become...
Well, Legacy did.
Yeah, Legacy did.
Yeah.
Lifeline was
yeah.
absolutely a Doomsday plot villain.
Yeah.
A hero that... So let's take a hero...
Given a different turn, like Naturalist could become that, like...
The environmental...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that's a different... So you're talking about characters, like canon characters by the end of the multiverse.
I mean, Wraith kind of went that direction with what happened in the Freedom 6 timeline for her.
Yeah.
That she was like, to oppose this, I'll go a kind of a Doomsday direction in order to fight against Iron Legacy. Oh, man, Tachyon. Tachyon
Yeah.
easy, right there.
Like, I was just going through this.
Tachyon easy becomes a Doomsday villain. Super easy.
Tachyon is almost a mad scientist as it is.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
like, there's a pretty thin line there.
And she can cross that line in less than a blink of an eye.
Yep.
Okay. Wrapping up here.
Twitson asks, what's our favorite Dr. Doofenshmirtz plot? So Dr. Doofenshmirtz is a character from Phineas and Ferb, which I have not watched enough of to know. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's...
I think that I'm glad we answered that question out loud, but I think that for the purpose of the episode, Trevor, feel free to kill it after which hero becomes a villain of the Doomsday plot, because I think that was a nice answer. It had some good,
I think
good exploratory, and that we can. So
yeah.
Well, thank you all so much for your questions.
Thank you for joining us.
No, got it into your question section. Got it in the question section.
Fine.
Right. Okay.
It's a editor's note, so
Yeah, but like still, without some order, Adam, the whole world devolves into chaos. Is this your Doomsday plot? Skip right from the question section to the outro. That's how it all starts.
No. I mean, no.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
So thank you all so much for your questions. And then Trevor plays the music. Maybe. No, there's no music.
There's no music here. That's why I don't think that there's music.
I think he has one, but maybe not. Okay, that's fine.
There's
no
awkward. You
Yeah,
got
look
to
at that.
witness us
That's great.
be embarrassed by that.
Are you embarrassed?
I'm very embarrassed.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't know that I've been embarrassed in the last 10 years.
Challenge accepted. All right. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Pretty dark in a few places there.
Yeah. We're going to prison, so we won't be here next week.
Thank you all for listening to our last episode. Fortunately, the FBI won't get this until next Thursday. So we have a week of freedom before we go to prison for these terrible things. The thing is that we've been doing this from the start, just hiding it in the stories of what the villains are doing, as opposed to talking about it out. We've been having these discussions, I was going to say since 2010 when we were working on this game, since way longer than that, since we've been coming up with stories about heroes and villains.
I hereby denounce my plans and or complicity in any illegal activities or crime that may in the future occur.
I hereby am left holding the smoking gun. Thanks, my cohort and co-host Adam, for putting me in this situation.
Well,
cheese it.
Yeah. That's all you have to say is I denounce any crime that may happen in the future. Then you could go do crime. And
I think you just ruined your own denunciation.
No, you've denounced it. I've denounced it already. If I robbed a bank now, they would be like, "Hey, did you do this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I denounced it." And the cops would be like, "Oh, okay.
This is
You're
not
good.
a legal
Move along.
advice episode.
Move along." Nothing to see here.
So, since we did such terrible scheduling things at the end of the editor's note that came out today,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming schedule for next month.
Right.
Because in it, we've got all of the Oblivion stuff that's happening, and that schedule is already announced, and you guys have plenty of lead time on submitting questions on those things. But we do list on the schedule in the show notes of the one that went live this morning that we're recording the first 2 episodes for October well before we get to the end of September, because
Yes.
you're out of town at the end of September, beginning of October.
I am.
And so with that in mind, you'll want to submit your questions for those early. Now, hold on. You don't know what the topics for those are yet, so how can you submit them? We don't know what the topics for them are either. But what we're going to try to do is today, after we get out of this thing, I'm going to talk to Maggie about it, but sometime either late this week, early next week, so before the audio goes, if you're listening to this in the audio form, the topic submission stuff should definitely already be up on the letters page. And then the week after the audio of this goes up is when we're going to put up the voting on topics and have that done by the end of the week. And then we'll post something on the letters page site. What we'll do in the show notes for the Scion episode, is that correct? I think I can put in the show notes of the Scion episode, we'll put a preview of the upcoming episodes for October.
Okay.
So that you can submit stuff then. That way you have at least a few weeks of time, at least a couple weeks of time
Yeah, make sure and get some spooky stuff in there.
to get right. October, I'd love to have some Halloween topics. Ghosts. We can just keep doing that. We'll do a whole. That's the Extrasode.
Yeah.
Christopher Adam
I
makes
can't
spooky.
do a distant scream, though. That's like,
Yeah.
it's not very good.
Yeah, me neither. All right. And on that note, we will leave you with this outro. Please don't do any of the things that we
Please don't.
suggested in this episode. Please do not plot to do them.
Don't do them. Don't plot them.
Don't think about them.
Don't just throw this episode away.
Now that you've listened to the whole episode, to get to this disclaimer at the end,
Forget that we did it.
don't listen to this episode.
Yeah. Just walk away.
Hug your family.
Your loved ones.
Be good.
Your pets.
Make good choices.
Yeah.
And don't think about evil.
Bye.